Welcome to another edition of Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends. I am Kevin McLemore. I am your show host, and I'm going to repeat that again. Just to let you guys know, for some of you that are tuning in for the first time, this show was originally created from one of the more than 300 motivational quotes I had created for my contents of my book. And plus, after studying human behavior for over 40 years, I was always curious about quotes in these words. Were there words that just landed on a page, or were there a conversation to be had? So with that said, we meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, Kevin McLemore, I'm your show host. I am joined today by the voice, Otis Spencer. My co-hosts, Christopher and Gilda James. Chris, my co-host, and Denise Lopes. So this space is originally designed not to make you comfortable, but we want to encourage you, inspire you, educate you, mold, and also create a opportunity to make you think. So our key points here is kindness, compassion, world relations, personal pleasure, and the power of owning your own story. So with that said, here goes this week's quote. The voice. Would you mind throwing that out there for us?
Failure is a part of life. If you don't fail, you don't learn. If you don't learn, you'll never change.
All right, Denise Lopes, DL, working on your book. How does that quote land on you today?
That's a great quote. Because for me, I'd rather fail at something than never try it. So I'd rather fail multiple times until I succeed. So if you're going to fail at stuff, you need to be prepared to fail. Because if you don't fail, you don't grow. So for me, that's the thing. I'd rather fail than never try.
All right. So I normally don't ask this, but have you ever failed at something?
Yep. Multiple times.
Multiple times. All right. I guess we've all hit that door. And how did you overcome that failure?
I just kept trying until I accomplished what I had to accomplish.
All right. So Otis Spencer, you brought the quote this weekend. So how does this quote land on you? What inspired you to bring us this quote?
I happened to be perusing Facebook, and a friend of mine happened to post that quote, and I said, wow, very interesting. And I enjoyed the quote, and I said, let's bring it for next week. For me, yes, if you fail, you need to keep going. But yet we know there are people out there that get into certain situations, being in a relationship, being at a job, that they stay in that failed relationship. They're afraid to get out, which is very sad. In a working environment for myself, and I think I might have said this before, I worked in the parking industry and we changed companies. And this company that I was working for, we had to get audited each and every single month. And so many things were getting thrown at us. Oh, this didn't balance, that didn't balance. What are your coupon sales and whatnot? And it gets very confusing and very frustrating. Well, what did we do wrong? What did we miss? To the point where I had to try to design an Excel spreadsheet to match exactly what the auditors were looking for, because I didn't want to be the location that just got a fair grading. I wanted us to be perfect. So by doing that, asking questions, working with the auditors, we were the very first location to get a very good. So I wanted to succeed.
All right. All right. Miss Gilda James, my co-host. All right. SAG-AFTRA. Saw those beautiful pictures of my family out there wanting to be heard, making themselves known, going against a system that profits only the system and not the people within the system. So beautiful pictures. Thank you for the shares. I feel I'm fighting your battle here. So allow this platform to be one of your voices, or all of your voices. So with this quote, if you don't mind, Mr. Spencer, is repeating this for the people that just tuned in. We've got a couple people. So if you repeat the daily quote today.
Failure is a part of life. If you don't fail, you don't learn. If you don't learn, you'll never change.
The silky smooth. That That man says so smooth. He makes you want to pay his rent, doesn't it?
Please do.
All right, Gilda.
For me, it falls on the quote falls on me to me as fail, try again. And that's what I've been doing. In this industry, I work as an actor, and sometimes we in fact, me, Chris, and Otis, can't remember his name. We all get together and we audition for different parts that comes in for us, like commercials or television or what have you. And I've done auditions, and I shouldn't say fail, but in order to get better, you gotta keep trying. So it falls on like I said, it's so hard for me to describe what I want to say, but I just keep trying. You fail, you try again. That's what I keep telling myself.
And that's what you just said to the audience without saying persistence. That is just part of the formula of doing what you're meant to do and using the gift that God gave you to do.
That's right.
There you go. So you're co-pilot, okay, chief officer in command, beautiful person, husband, best friend for life, yes. Mr. Christopher James. All right. Thank you, Gilda, for sharing Christopher with us. But Christopher, all right, the quote, failure is part of life. If you don't fail, you don't learn. If you don't learn, you'll never change. Being a military man, how does that work for you?
Well, you probably saw me smiling when Gilda gave her impression of the quote and referenced the self-tapes that Otis, Gilda, and myself would put together on weekends. And Otis, how many times does Gilda have us go through that tape before she's absolutely perfectly happy with it?
Oh, there's a few times, but we coach her to try to stay positive to get her to do the right thing.
Which means we try to keep her under a dozen retakes, but it is true. She will take that as one more example of continually doing it until it's perfect. But my whole feel of that quote is fairly simplistic. Failure is a part of life. There was a Disney movie, what was the name of it though? Zootopia, I believe. Mm-hmm. And in that movie was featured a song that talked about not being afraid to fail. Every single thing that we've ever learned as a human was through failure. Our first attempts at walking, our first attempts at talking, our first attempts at everything that we've done, we have looked at failure right in the face and kept on going. To say that if you don't fail, you don't learn is simply how that mechanism works. You've got to fail. One, to give you that sense to seek perfection, because no matter how well you do anything, you're going to find one teeny little fault that you want to go back and make better next time. Gil was a perfect example of that. She'll watch a tape. She'll say, Otis and I will say, that's perfect. And Gil will say, no, that one little thing here, I don't like it. And she'll want to do it all over again. And the seeking of that perfection is what generates change, is what makes us what we are today. Now, Kevin, you mentioned the military. That was a cruel teacher, but it was one of my first and earliest teachers. I was 18 years old when I first went to the military. In fact, they taught me how to roll a sleeve to where once it's rolled up, you can pull it straight down and it comes out without having to unfolded. But the bottom line is, it's through this failure that we change and we make ourselves better. And failure is a part of life. It's a very critical and very crucial and really beautiful part of life, failure. And don't be afraid of it. And never shy away from a particular path because you think you might fail. If you're lucky, you will fail and you'll make it better next time.
Look at the way you closed that off. And believe it or not, I had such a great thought going through my head until you did that Houdini effect with your sleeve. I was just like, wow, we got magic on Motivational Sundays. That was good. And not a wrinkle in the sleeve too.
Kevin, every single service will always joke, tease the Marines and tell them that they really can't, be trusted with anything or break it. That is a Marine invention. All right. It's taking the OBDUs, making them more comfortable with the sleeve, yet making it where you can sleeve it down and protect yourself, say, for a chemical or biological attack. That's the reasoning for it, but that was brought to you by the U.S. Marine Corps.
Well, thank you for your service. Thank you for the great share. You're tough. I mean, I hate sometimes being the last person on this panel to address a quote. Otis, if you don't mind giving the quote again while I'm still oohing and ahhing over the magic act we had over here today.
Certainly.
Courtesy of our United States Marine Corps. Hoo-ah. All right. I don't know that was a drill instructor in Marines.
Failure is a part of life. If you don't fail, you don't learn. If you don't learn, you'll never change.
All right. So to our listeners, I want you to think about this. And you guys have heard me say this before. There are two destroyers of dreams: procrastination and giving up on yourself. You have to realize every single day, if a man or woman does not have a dream, they have no reason to exist in this life, because there's no going forward and there's no going backwards, because they're just existing. So when I look at this quote or hear this quote, the first thing I think of is the lack of tenacity. If people don't get up every day with a higher purpose in order to get something done, then nothing ever gets done. And that's the reason why you hear motivational speakers say that, if this is what you do every single day and you expect less, you're going to get less. If this is what you do every single day and you expect more yourself, you'll get more. Persistence is part of the formula of being successful. Failure is a part of the experience of saying that didn't work, like in a relationship. Sometimes our current wife, our current girlfriend, you have to realize they weren't the first, okay? And then if you're not married, it probably won't be the last. We learn. We're students of our own emotions. Every motivational quote we have out there is an emotion. And the reason why some of us don't put ourselves out there is because of what? Feelings of events that appear to be real. Fear. Okay. Fear is that brick or that stone or that wall that stops you from jumping high. You can jump 6 feet, but if someone tells you 4 feet is all you're going to get and you believe it, then 4 feet is all you're going to get, even though you could jump 6 feet. We put our own limitations on ourselves. And with the lack of tenacity of saying that I'm going to do it with all costs, failure is just a process, unless, someone else has done it before, of saying, okay, that didn't work, but it also exposes some of the things that will work. So you don't repeat the same thing, like going to work, like living your life or whatever. If you don't need an alarm clock, don't start using an alarm clock, because all of a sudden you'll sleep in, you'll hit the snooze because it's more comfortable than getting up and doing that work. People tell me all the time, you need 8 hours of sleep. You need this amount of sleep. But since I've been 14 years of age, I've been functioning on 3-4 hours of sleep or whatever, getting up without an alarm clock. Why? It's because I look at it this way. In Los Angeles, California, it is 6 a.m., 3 hours ahead of time. If I was in Los Angeles and I realized the world on the East Coast had woke up, they've got 3 hours on advantage for me. I'm not giving anyone a head start. I'm a world-class sprinter. I do not like playing catch up, but it does look good when I'm running world-class speed and I'm passing you like you're standing still. So failure is only limited by what you do in what you say and the actions that follow, choice or chance. If you choose not to be more, don't be surprised when you don't get more. If you choose not to do the work, don't be surprised when you don't get the work. You can't be a working actor, a politician, a good husband, or whatever, unless you show up and ask someone to give you a chance. You can't be a good actor if you don't go over and look at the sides. That's your lines, and put your experiences into someone else's words, and then show them. You know, one of the things that I enjoyed about being an actor is not necessarily getting the part, is showing people what I can do. All right. I was just happy to let someone know that I can deliver these lines better than anybody else. And it's up to you to choose if I'm that person, because I know in Hollywood, they all think we look alike, too tall, whatever, you know, same brown eyes or whatever case may be. But if you give someone an experience that makes you unforgettable, life's at your doorstep waiting for you to come in. So to our listeners, if the voice will be so kind to deliver this quote, because I want you to think about this before you speak. Otis.
Failure is a part of life. If you don't fail, you don't learn. If you don't learn, you'll never change.
All right. So I'm going to leave our listeners with this. When you talk about learning, if you don't have the answers, you don't have someone to give you answers, open a book. I was always told by my grandfather, you guys, the best way to keep a secret from a man or woman, he says, put it in a book. Read. All right. With that said, thank you for everyone that's joined in to listen to us, as we do all the time at each show, because this show is not about me. It's about us, my co-hosts. I always want to know what is going on in their lives. And Denise, I know you're pretty close to working, getting your book delivered. So give us an update real quick. What's going on with your life?
Almost. My book is almost. I just have to finish, but the 28th school starts, so I'm getting ready. We moved to a new school, so I have to unpack everything, decorate my new room. I went to see it on Tuesday, and it looks nice, so I just have to get started with that and do this airport thing part-time. So if I can't do both, I'm just going to keep teaching, because that's what I love doing.
I just hope that Boston public school systems appreciates and respects your gift to have such a wonderful educator as part of their system. We appreciate you on this show. So Boston Public, stand up. Okay, be good to this one. Otis.
Thank you.
Otis, that beautiful background. He always goes someplace special every week. What's going on with you?
I had my first experience helping out the National Guard on Wednesday and Thursday, as if there was a disaster. Our scenario was a Walmart blew up, several people that were shopping, and there was a use of mustard gas. And my second day that I worked, I was a person that had nausea, and I'm sitting there, you're gagging, you're coughing, you're doing all these other things. They come up and say, hey, are you okay? What's wrong? They look at their little card. And they said, okay, you know, we'll be right with you. And then they're attending to several people. That first go around, by the time they got to me, they put me right through. You had to be decontaminated. They sit there, they say, okay, take off this. And, you know, you're taking off your clothes. They've got to hose you down with a chemical to try to decontaminate you. Then they go through again and they hose you down again, and you're doing all sides, your hands straight out, turn around, turn around, turn around. And then they pull up this machine to see if there's any decontaminants on you. Then they send you through to medical, and they said, what time is it? And then they looked at what time we started. They said he would not have made it. They didn't get to me in time.
Wow.
But it was an interesting experience to see what these guys have to go through.
This is funny. You know how, like, sometimes you ask someone how they're doing, but you really don't want to know?
Right.
I thought he was doing the Dustin Hoffman movie about the virus, whatever. I'm going, oh shit, we're going through COVID again. That's all right. Thank you for that share. Gilda, all right. I know you're one part of the James family. There's no family secrets between the two of you, but I know there's something good going on over there in the James house. What's up?
Oh, well, on Tuesday, we went, because we're part of the union, and the union had a day for us to donate goods to Salem. So me and Chris went down there and put in our time waiting for folks to come to the locations to donate food for the victims in Vermont.
Vermont flooding.
For during the Vermont flooding. So that was pretty much
Was that Tuesday?
yeah, it was Tuesday. Yeah. So we
It's a
was
long week.
yeah, we was involved with that.
All right, Christopher. Anything to add to that? Anything new that Gilda doesn't know? Please tell us.
No, she's pretty much on top of it. I lost several days this week. I mean, if that event she's referring to was Tuesday, what happened to Wednesday and Thursday? I mean, I remember Friday. We went to where?
Oh, it was in Connecticut.
Connecticut. Yeah. See,
okay.
I lose days. I guess that's natural. That's normal. But on the horizon and in our future, Gilda, let's see, the results just came back for the local SAG-AFTRA board. Gilda and I both were in this past election. This would have been Gilda's third term on the board and my second term as a delegate. And as the election results came out, Gilda won her third term on the
Congratulations.
SAG board, and I was unsuccessful in my attempt to make the convention delegate list, looking forward to a trip to Los Angeles, as it was the first time that we went, 4 years ago now.
4 years ago.
But when I was elected as a delegate, that year they, of course, COVID came and we didn't have a convention. It was all electronic. So I come to find out that I guess that electronic means of convention was so successful, they're going to do it again this year.
Mhm.
Oh,
With Gilda winning the seat on the local board and also as a convention delegate, and with aspirations of going to
California.
Well,
Yeah.
not happening.
Yeah.
Once again, it's going to be electronic via streaming video, and I guess they figured it was cheaper, more efficient. But whatever the case, there won't be a trip to Hollywood in our future.
Yeah.
oh boy, I am so sorry. Congratulations, Gilda.
Yeah.
And this AI stuff, this electronic and artificial stuff, you don't realize that just like a text message, the personal aspect, the emotional aspect of the message is not the same as the experience of actually having a real conversation or seeing someone's reaction to your conversation, whatever. I still think that 1/3 of our population in the next 10 years will not exist in our employment system just because of AI for profit. So I'm sorry. I guess once we create our own system, our own Hollywood, we will keep these things in mind and saying that just because it's convenient, it shouldn't be done. We should do it the old-fashioned way. So that way we put a voice with a face and a face to a heart and a heart to a conversation that needs to be had. So with that said, mine is, I just wrapped up, my last drawing, 24 drawings for 24 chapters in my new book. And for those of you that are aspiring writers, writing the book is not the hard part. It's the rewrites of the book, because I just got a couple pages back with red ink on them, which I thought I had it all done. So now I got to go back and start writing again. I thought I had a little reprieve, so I'll be doing that. So the book, we got to decide on the title. I always said that the world's not ready for you. That was originally the title, but originally my editor and everyone else says that I got to go out and get the world ready for you, because the world's not ready. They like that better than just the world's not ready. So we have to decide on the title. So that's coming out. First time I've shared my artwork with anyone in the metaverse or universe or whatever case may be. I've been a closet artist, but because I am personally connected to the words on the page, because I lost my sister just before the new year at 42 years of age, I wanted to create something for my nieces and nephews that they had that's tangible so they can still be in touch with their mother. But I wrote something I needed to share with the world because we all have that gift. So with that said, I want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in each week. Last week, we gained 183 new followers or viewers to our podcast. So Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends is growing. We're on our 96th episode, 100. Hopefully we'll do a bang, something special. We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you like what you've heard, not only this podcast, Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends, is on our RMK Productions and Network YouTube page. You will find my other podcast, Talking Wit, WIT, Kevin and Son. And one day I'll explain to you how that came about with the logo and everything else, because no one has ever asked. I'll answer that later on. And if you like, you're more than happy to join the group. You know, on my Facebook page, we put out the link. We do this by Zoom. Thank you, Zoom, for upgrading us to a professional version of this. And you're always welcome. You know, remember, kindness, compassion, and positivity is what we're all about. Each week, someone brings a quote, and we find out how, based on our interpretation and perspective, of how that word lands on us. Sometimes we have a lot of fun and laughs. Sometimes it makes us think. Sometimes we have conversations on a quote that doesn't exactly make you comfortable, but does make you think. So all I can say is thank you, and remind everyone what my grandfather taught me. He says, when you get to a point you can help someone else, it is your duty to do so. Reach one, teach one, and we'll fade to black. And we're out.